Oh, you're back. Last time we discussed space flights, which takes us into outer space. But what exactly is outer space? Outer space is a large area that exists beyond Earth and other celestial bodies. Now you might be wondering what celestial bodies are. Celestial bodies are any type of natural body that exists beyond the Earth's atmosphere. Can you think of any celestial bodies that we see on a daily basis? Yes, the sun, the moon and the stars are celestial bodies which exist beyond the Earth's surface. Why don't you find some more celestial bodies that exist? It will be fun. Now, let's have some fun with Space Wars. By the end of today's session, we won't be having just one, but 3 enemy ships. Looks like our space hero is gonna be in a bit of a trouble. I know you're excited, but before that, let's have a recap. In the last session, we learned to set a space background and to also add the sprites. Then, we animated the sprites to make them look colorful. Using code, we set the movements to the 2 sprites. Now that our recap is done, let's move on to today's session. Let's click on Run, and you can see that the background and the characters are on the game screen. The enemy spaceship is moving from the top to the bottom, so we need to help the space hero to move left and right accordingly. Did you notice that the enemy ship is coming from one single point? This makes winning a walk in the park for the space hero. How about we make it a bit more daring? Let's make the enemy ship appear from random expositions. For that, go to Sprites, take the sprite.x block and attach it inside the if enemyship.y greater than 400 conditional statement. Rename the sprite to enemyship. As I have already mentioned, we need the enemy ships to come from random positions. So go to Math, take a random number block and attach it on the right side of the enemyship.x block. The value of x is 0 at the extreme left side and 400 at the extreme right end. The enemy ship should not go outside this frame. So let's keep the value as 10 and 390 so that there'll be some space between the ends and the enemy ships. Click on Run, and yay, the enemy ship appears from random positions. Hey, why don't we add some more enemy spaceships and make it look like an enemy troop trying to attack the space hero? Awesome, let's do it. Do you remember how we introduced sprites? Yes, let's follow the same method. Click on Animations and come to the Animation tab. Rename the enemy ship to enemy ship 1. To add the 2 new sprites, click on Duplicate sign right next to Delete option in enemy ship 1. Rename the sprite to enemy ship 2. Now click on the Duplicate sign again. And yes, the 3rd enemy ship is also ready. Rename the sprite to enemy ship 3. Now that we have created the enemy ships, let's add them to the game screen. Click on Code and come back to the Game Lab interface. But before adding the new enemy ships, some of the blocks are named enemy ship, which is the first enemy ship that we added. Let's rename enemy ship to enemy ship 1 in all the blocks to avoid any confusion. Great! Now let's add the second enemy ship. Choose Sprites from the toolbox. Take the variable sprite block and attach it to the workspace. Rename the sprite to enemyship2. Now take the sprite.setAnimation block and attach it below the variable enemyship2 block. Rename the sprite to enemyship2 on the left side. And on the right side, click on the drop down and choose enemyship2. Great! Time to add the final spaceship, and you know what to do. Choose Sprites from the toolbox. Take the variable sprite block and attach it to the workspace. Rename the sprite to enemyship3. Now take the sprite.setAnimation block and attach it below the variable enemyship3 block. Rename the sprite to enemyship3 on the left, and on the right, click on the drop down and choose enemyship3. Click on Run. And where are the two enemy ships? We can see the first enemy ship and one in the center, but where's the third one? Well, if you take a look at the variable enemyship2 and variable enemyship3 block, the two new spaceships are set at the same position, a position where the value of x and y are 200, that is, at the center. So let's set them at the position we want. The space troop should be in a straight line at the top, one at the left, right, and one at the center, ready to attack the space hero. So let's set the position of the enemy ship number 1. Since we want to move it to the left, you can change the x value of the first enemy ship. So in the variable enemy ship 1 block, let's keep the x value as 100. And as we need the spaceships to come from the top, set the y value as 50. As for the second spaceship, we need it at the center. So in the variable enemy ship 2, keep the x value as 200 and y value as 50. Similarly, for the third spaceship, change the x value in the variable enemy ship 3 block to 300 and y value to 50. Click on Run, and yes, the enemy ships are placed in the proper position. But the two new enemy ships look bigger than the first one. So let's resize it. To reduce the size of the enemy ship, take the sprite.scale block and attach it below the enemyship2.setAnimation block. Rename the sprite to enemyship2 and keep the value on the right as 0.7. Similarly, to reduce the size of the third enemy ship, take the sprite.scale block and attach it below the enemyship3.setAnimation block. Rename the sprite to enemyship3 and keep the value on the right as 0.7. Click on Run, and great! The enemy troop is now ready. The first enemy ship is moving, but the two new enemy ships look like race cars at the starting point, right? But I think we should give them some movements. Let's do it. You can already see the enemyship1.velocity_y block that we have added for the movement of the first enemy ship. So let's add the same blocks for enemy ship number 2 and 3. For that, go to Sprites. Take the sprite.velocity_y block and attach it below the enemyship1.velocity_y block. Rename the sprite to enemyship2 and give the value on the right as 5. Click on Run, and see, the second spaceship is moving, but it's only moving once, unlike the first one, which is moving continuously. Let's add the same continuous movement for second enemy ship also. If the value of y exceeds 400, the enemy ship should be taken back to the point where the value of y is 0. For that, just like we did earlier, go to Controls, take the if conditional statement and attach it inside the function draw block. Now go to math, take the greater than operator and attach it inside the if conditional statement. From sprites, take the sprite.y block and attach it in the first blank of the greater than operator. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗄 and give the value on the right as 400. Now go to sprites, take the sprite.y block and attach it inside the if conditional statement. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗄 and on the right, add the value as 0. As we need the second enemy ship to come from random X positions just like the first, go to sprites, take the sprite.x block and attach it inside the if conditional statement. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗄. Now go to math, take a random number block and attach it on the right side of the 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗄.x block. Give the values as 10 and 390. Let's repeat the same for the third enemy ship also. To set the speed of the third enemy ship, from sprites, take the sprite.velocity_y block and attach it below the 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗄.velocity_y block. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗄 and give the value on the right as 5. Now go to controls, take the if conditional statement and attach it inside the function draw block. Just like we did earlier from math, take the greater than operator and attach it inside the if conditional statement. For the continuous movement of the enemy ship, from sprites, take the sprite.y block and attach it inside the first blank of the greater than operator. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗄 and give the value on the right as 400. Now go to sprites, take the sprite.y block and attach it inside the if conditional statement. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗄 and on the right, give the value as 0. We want the enemy spaceship within the limits of the game screen, and also, since we need them to come from random X positions, go to sprites, take the sprite.x block and attach it inside the if conditional statement. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗄. Now go to math, take a random number block and attach it on the right side of the 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗄.x block. Give the values as 10 and 390. Click on run and look at that, the spaceships are moving continuously. As you can see, the 3 enemy ships are moving perfectly, but at times the enemy ships are overlapping one another. Let's do something. We will assign specific sections for each of the enemy ship to come from so that they don't overlap. For this, we have to bring some changes in the X value. The enemy ships should stick to their positions when they come from the top. So we have to make the necessary changes in the if enemy ship.y greater than 400 block. For the first enemy ship, let's keep the values in the random number block as 30 and 100. This way, the first spaceship would only come from a point between 30 and 100. For the second enemy ship, give the values in the random number block as 150 and 200. And for the third enemy ship, let's keep the values in the random number block as 250 and 370. Click on run. And yes, the ships are not overlapping and they're coming from the positions we gave them. But you know what I noticed? The 3 enemy ships are coming from their own positions but with the same speed. I think it would be interesting if we gave them random speeds so that each time they appear, they would be coming at their own unique speeds. Let's do it. As we are talking about the speed, from sprites, take the sprite.velocity_y block and attach it inside the if 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗏 greater than 400 block so that each time the spaceship passes the bottom edge, it can appear with random speeds. Now rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗏. Since we need different speeds, go to Math, take the random number block and attach it on the right side of the 𝗙𝗵𝗏.velocity_y block. Give the value as 1 and 5. Let's repeat the same for the second and third spaceship. Click on Sprites, take the sprite.velocity_y block and attach it inside the if 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗏 greater than 400 block. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗏. We need the 𝗙𝗵𝗲 to come at different speeds. So go to Math, take the random number block and attach it on the right side of the 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗏.velocity_y block. Give the values as 1 and 5. As for the final spaceship, from sprites, take the sprite.velocity_y block and attach it inside the if 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗏 greater than 400 block. Rename the sprite to 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗏. Now go to Math, take the random number block and attach it on the right side of the 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗏.velocity_y block. Give the values as 1 and 5. Click on Run and yay! The spaceships are coming at different speeds. Now that we have set the position and the speed at which the enemy spaceships arrive, we have one tiny problem left. All three of the enemy ships are coming together. So why don't we change that? After passing the bottom edge, if the enemy ships are taken to different positions, then they would come at different times. Yes. For this, go to Math, take the random number block and attach it on the right side of the 𝗙𝗵𝗏1.y block inside the if 𝗙𝗵𝗏1.y greater than 400 block. Give the value as -50 and 0. This way, the enemy ship will be taken to any random position between -50 and 0 and the three spaceships would get a time gap before appearing. Let's repeat the same process to the second enemy ship. So from Math, take the random number block and attach it to the right side of the 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗏2.y block, which is inside the if 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗏2.y greater than 400 block. Give the value as -50 and 0. And finally, for the final enemy ship, go to Math, take the random number block and attach it to the right side of the 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗏3.y block, which is inside the if 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗏3.y greater than 400 block. Keep the value as -50 and 0. Click on Run and yay! The enemy ships are different in their positions, speed and time of arrival, but they're coming down to get the space hero. Wow! We've learned so much in today's session, right? Can you tell me what we studied today? Let's say it together. We learned to create an enemy troop by adding 2 more enemy spaceships. We also learned to set the speed and the position of the new spaceships. Then, we coded to make the space hero bounce each time it hits the edges. With that, we have completed our today's session. In the next session, we will learn to add a defense weapon for our space hero, bullets. The space hero can fire bullets as the enemy troops comes to attack him. The enemy troops getting hit by the bullets will disappear and the next set of troops will appear. I know you're excited for the next session. Well, I'll see you soon. Until then, bye!